Hello and welcome to my channel where I talk about pens and inks and everything related to that. Today I'm going to do an unboxing and a first impressions video. I recently acquired this Sailor 1911 Young. I haven't opened it yet, it's still sealed in the box. So we're going to open it up and I'm going to give you my first impressions. I'll ink it up with something. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to use. We'll see how it writes and yes, let's get into it. Alright, let's get into it. I recently got the Sailor. I haven't opened it yet. I've looked at it but I haven't really opened it. So it comes in this very nice box. We open it up and inside we have some paperwork, converter, very nice. I always like getting a converter with a new pen. It should be standard, I don't know why, but anyway, I can understand with cheaper pens why you don't get a converter, but it's really essential. And then we have the pen. Put that aside. And it's still sealed, as you can see. It comes in this plastic, which is nice. I appreciate that. I know that it hasn't been opened by anybody else. So let me get something to open this up with. Right, I'm back. Huge pair of scissors to open this up with. Let's do that. And we take out the pen for the first time. Really nice. Let's have a closer look at this. Get some better zoom going there. It's got a really nice weight to it. It's not too light. It's not heavy. It feels really good in the hand. I really like it. Finial at the top, just a shiny black piece there. Bottom, lovely clip. It's one of the things that attracted me to this pen when I saw it the first time. I thought that's a really nice clip. It's really simple. It's not overstated. It just looks, you know, classic, and it's nice and firm, but not too much. It will work really well. Very, very nice. We'll have a closer look at the nib in a moment. Barrel and screws, nothing at the back. Just like this, really, it's a really classy looking. I really love the black. Let's have a closer look and see if we can get some better. Yeah. Nib this is a broad nib, by the way. See if we can see what it says on the nib. Get some focus there. That's really nice. Without the cap, the pen is quite light. It's not heavy at all. I think it will fit very nicely in the hand. It's not too small. I think for me this is the perfect weight. This is really what I like. By the way, I don't know if you can hear the wind, but we've got some pretty bad wind and rain going on at the moment. It's a very satisfying snap. Quite stiff going back in. But it's definitely tight on there, it's not coming off. I also like the fact that I'm feeling around the spot at the top and it's really smooth. There's nothing that sticks out. I have some pens where you can feel it doesn't fit really well, but this is just perfect. Really like this. So far, build quality, You might hear the rain now. Build quality, I think, it feels pretty good. It feels pretty solid. It looks really well, really good. I don't have any complaints so far. On the let's see, on the center ring it says Sailor, and if we turn it around, made in Japan. Yes. Well, maybe we should ink this up and do a writing sample and get a first impression of what that's like. Okay, let's get to that. So up until now I couldn't decide what ink I'm going to use, and this is one of my diamond inks, sepia. I haven't really used this. I got it, I think I inked up one pen with it maybe. So this ink hasn't really been used. It's not inked in any of my pens currently. So I think it's only fair to give this a try and see how it does with my new Sailor pen. So we'll ink it up. So, well, let's do the, let's get the inverter out first. Okay, so I have to open this up. There we go. Get that out of the way. It's not a very big inverter, right? It's like but I think it looks adequate. I think it'll do the job. So, whoops, it's going somewhere. So let's give this a try. Pen opens up. And it fits really, it goes in real tight. I've got a sense that this thing definitely won't be leaking or anything like that. So let's get the ink here. And let's ink it up. I usually get ink on my fingers, so we'll see if we can manage not to do that today. Probably not. Probably won't be able to manage it. Okay, there we go. Second try. Just wipe it off. Wipe off the excess. And there we go. All inked up. So for the writing sample, I'm going to be using this notebook that I recently got. It's Epica CD11. I haven't used this at all yet. This would be the first time I'm using this notebook, so it's got lines. I would have preferred it to just be blank. I really prefer not to have anything on my pages, but this is all I could get at the time, and I just wanted a really basic notebook, and so this is what I got. I normally use the endless recorder, which I think is the Maui River paper, and those I usually get without any lines, no lines, no dots or grid or anything, and that's a really quality notebook, I have to say. I use those most of the time, but this may be I'm using it for the first time. We'll see how it does, and I think I'll be using this one from now on when I do writing samples. If the paper is good to me, I'll be using this one. So let's see how it does. And it's a broad nib. Ink is diamine sepia. So far it feels a little dry. I don't know if it's the ink. Definitely on the dry side, but I like the thickness of the nib. This is a size that I really enjoy. maybe it just needs to, it feels a little bit more wet now. Let's try again. Sailor 1911 young broad nib, diamine sepia. Definitely more ink flow now. I think it was just being used for the first time. Much better now. Let's see if we can get a little bit closer. Well, very nice ink. I do feel like it's writing a little bit on the dry side, and I'm not sure if that is the pen or if that is the ink. I guess I will see in time when I ink it up with something else what happens. I do notice this quite a bit, that the ink really makes a big difference to how the pen writes. Some pens really don't like an ink that's, can I say, dry. So you really have to get the right combination of the pen, the nib, with the ink and with the paper. Those three things really have to go together. If they don't, it's not always the best experience. And I guess with this pen it'll be, well, this is the first impression, but it'll be a matter of testing it and seeing what ink goes best with it. I was actually tempted initially to just take a black ink like Parker Quink or Waterman Intensity Black, I think it is, because those are inks that behave really, really well. They are just solid performers, and I was really tempted to use just a standard black ink with this pen because the pen is black and for me it sort of goes together. But at the same time I thought, well, you know, maybe black is a little bit boring. I have some inks that I haven't really used and I should really give it a try, really test them out a bit. So I'm going to see how this ink does with this pen. It may just be the combination, or it may be that the pen runs a little on the dry side. It seems to keep up fairly well though. I don't think that will be a problem, but I do prefer it to feel smoother on the paper, and I think the ink does make a difference with that. So I'm just playing around with it a little bit more to see what this ink does, and as you can see, it really is, it's a really dry, it could be the pen, it could be the ink, don't know, but it's certainly on the dry side, and I'm not particularly impressed with that. It's not bad, but it's not how I like my pens to write. I really want them on the wet side. So wetness and flow, we'll see, because it does have some moments of decent wetness, it seems. And I'm wondering if I put a little bit more pressure. A little bit more pressure definitely gets more ink, definitely. But you don't want to have to put pressure on a fountain pen, right? So yes, it's definitely got a scratchiness to it, not scratchy, and I don't think it's feedback either, but this is definitely an ink. I can feel it. It's an ink quality perhaps. If you have any ideas about this ink, Diamine Sepia, drop me a comment. Let me know what you think about it. It's a really beautiful ink. I really like this. I think it looks really good. I'll be using it quite a bit. You see, there you get some. Yeah, now there's some decent wetness there, but then again, it's not consistently wet enough. Definitely too much of a scratchy quality to this ink. It may be the pen, it may be the ink, I'm not sure. I'll find out as I write with it. I'll figure it out and I will let you know. It's the only thing that I'm not crazy about. Other than that, I think the pen looks really good, it feels really good, build quality is good, the weight is good, it caps nicely. Does it post? Let's see if this pen posts. Let me just get some. Let's just zoom out a bit. Whoops, wrong way. Here we go. So let's just see how this pen posts. Oh yes, it goes on very nicely and it is secure. It will definitely posts well. But it's on the dry side. That is going to be, in the long run, that will be a deal breaker for me if I can't fix that. But I'm sure that's something that with time I will figure out. So there you go, my first impressions. I would give this pen a 4 out of 5. Everything about it is really great. I love it except the wetness. It's on the dry side, but that's not a deal breaker right now. We'll see what happens in time. If you haven't already, and if you enjoy this kind of video, subscribe to my channel. If you feel you would like to do that, click on the bell icon for notifications, and you'll know whenever I post something new. And I will see you next time. Thanks for joining me. I am back. I couldn't leave this alone. I really wanted to see whether it's the ink or the pen that is causing the dryness. So I quickly went downstairs to clean this out, and I'm going to ink it up with my, well, it just wants to run away, with my Waterman Intense Black ink. So we'll give that a try and see if that makes any difference. Alright, converter has been cleaned. And we'll throw up some ink. Squirt out the air and do at least another one. Get a good amount of ink in there. Wipe it down, and I got some ink on my fingers as usually. Right. Always put the cap back on immediately, because if you don't, stuff just happens that you don't want to happen. So let's zoom in a bit and see. So this would be, let's try again, Sailor 1911 Young. And I'm afraid it's already a bit on the dry side. Don't know if you can see that, but I am not particularly impressed with what I'm feeling. This is Waterman. Intense Black ink. And this is a broad nib. It's definitely on the dry side. I think you can see that. So there you have it. This is now two different inks, two different brands. this pen is definitely on the dry side. It's not a complete deal breaker. I'm sure there are some things I can do to increase the ink flow. I would love to have your ideas on that. It's a little bit of a disappointment, I have to say, when I buy a new pen, and I've been looking forward to getting this one for a while, so I've really wanted this one. But when you buy a new pen, when it comes out of the box, it should write really well. That's how I feel about it. I know that sometimes pens need a bit of tuning, etc., but I really feel like, especially a pen like this is not, it's not a very expensive pen, but it's also not, it's not a cheapie. It's not like a platinum preppy or something like that. It should have some decent wetness, which it does not, and that unfortunately it's not great. But like I said, it's not a deal breaker. I'll definitely spend some time with this pen, and I'll see what I can do to increase the wetness, and maybe come back to it in a later video. Well, thank you for joining. I will see you next time. That's my first impression of the Sailor 1911 Young.